Hey guys, so got a comment here basically asking what phone would you get if Samsung and Apple didn't exist? Now that's a very good question, but I'm probably not going to be able to respond to that because without Apple, um without Apple, we probably wouldn't be where we are today. Uh, because not just because Apple a company, but just because the man behind it, the genius behind Apple, Steve Jobs. So I just want to link you to this kind of video that people have been finding from some kind of Steve Jobs interview. Basically, Steve Jobs talks a little bit about his vision of life, and he was basically saying that many people live this kind of limited life, and that they grow up, they save some money, they try to make nice families, stuff like that. But he said that life could be so much more than that, and that you probably shouldn't be able, or that you should think outside the box. Obviously, you should think outside the box, and when you realize that everything around you is built up by people no smarter than you, then that you can change the world. This was exactly what Steve Jobs did. He created Apple. He's a co-founder of Apple with Steve Wozniak. They created the Apple II. They created the first Apple computer as well, but the Apple II was kind of successful. Steve Jobs got kicked out of Apple. They didn't think he was the right man to lead that company. Steve Jobs created Next. That was a company that wasn't really successful. That it like extremely successful because like I think they had like expensive computers, too expensive. But then Steve Jobs also got into talks and created Pixar. And Pixar, they created videos with Disney, like Toy Story 2, and that became like a really successful company that basically made Steve Jobs, millionaire. And he was still, working at Next. So, like in '98 or something like that, or maybe it was '96, Apple buys back some things of the next company, so they get back Steve Jobs. And Steve Jobs, as he is a leader, uh, he becomes the CEO again because he's good to talking to people and stuff like that, and suddenly he's the leader of Apple again. He create these like 10 years, 10 to 15 years of awesomeness for Apple. They were like 90 days from bankruptcy, and he saves the company. And yes, this year, or just the last year, if we look back at the like the 5 last years, we've been getting these insanely awesome products from Apple that have pushed everything forward faster, like the iPod line, the iPhone, the iPad. I mean, these like sick products. And that Steve Jobs did, Steve Jobs, he wasn't like an awesome engineer, sick engineer, but he knew, what people liked. He was a good, guy that could market his products and stuff like that. He, learned everything basically from scratch. He was in India, and the last, 5 years here, he'd been, struggling with his cancer, and, just like 1 month ago, he passed away. So, you can be whoever you want. Okay, I know I'm going off topic here, but what I want to say is go ahead and watch this video. It's only 40 seconds long, but the things he's saying in this video, it's kind of genius. And he followed that. He did that for himself. He became a billionaire. Yeah. But what I want to say is that what kind of phone I would use. That's a tough question, because I mean, without Apple, and also without Samsung though. But I think that Apple have pushed everything, so we have been getting this technology out faster. And it's kind of hard. I'm not sure what I should, if Android would be here, I'd probably pick an Android device. But I would probably, try to pick a company that I think is, the leaders in technology and that is coming out with the best things. Right now, I think that Samsung is the guys that is, most, innovating. By bringing out these larger displays, this NFC technology, all of these things, and it seems like they are in the front. And I want to have the latest tech. I want to have the latest software. I want to have the best phone for me. So I mean, HTC, I don't really like HTC because of the battery issues that they're having. But I mean, if Android would be around, if Windows Phone 7 would be around, I maybe would pick, you know, Windows Phone 7 device. But you know, I would pick the best device out there, and the best device out there is, you know, the one that I like. So I can't really answer that because it's too hard for me to think a world without Apple and Samsung. Yeah, so I'm sorry, but Microsoft maybe with their Windows Phone 7 line, never have a BlackBerry because they suck. See.